Straight ahead, Chad.
Please be seated. Good morning, and thank you all for joining us today for this very special service. I'm Battalion Chief Lorna Trent with the Virginia Beach Fire Department.
And I am Scott Humphrey with the Virginia Beach Police Department. Lorna and I are both commanders of our respective honor guards. And for the past few weeks, we have had the distinct privilege of coordinating the liaisons with the families and have been working with each of these victim families. We have no words to adequately express how much it has meant to us and to each of our liaisons, members of the police and fire departments, to serve these families during these incredibly difficult times.
Scott and I have been asked to serve as hosts for today's service, and we greatly appreciate that honor. Now, if everyone will please stand for the presentation of the colors and remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, which will be performed by Elizabeth Parker with the city's Planning and Community Development Department. It is my privilege to introduce our next speaker. Please be seated. Dave Hansen was appointed city manager in January of 2016 after serving as deputy city manager for 10 years. As deputy, he oversaw 3 of the 4 departments housed in Building 2, Information Technology, Public Works, and Public Utilities. Mr. Hansen joined the City of Virginia Beach in April 2006 after a 30-year career in the military. In fact, it was when he was serving on the German border that he first met Rich Nettleton, who was serving at the same time, just in a different capacity. Please join me in welcoming City Manager Dave Hansen.
To the families of those we've lost, to our fellow city employees, to our elected representatives, to our friends, and all the people in our community and beyond who have shown such great support. It is my privilege to be with you today and to represent the City of Virginia Beach as we honor 16 members of our collective families and grieve the 12 who were so senselessly taken from us on May 31st, and support for our 4 co-workers who continue to mend. Some things happen that defy explanation and are difficult, if not impossible, to understand. What happened here is just one of those terrible things. These are times that can shake our faith and cause us to question if we will ever find a way to live with our loss and grief. Our hearts are broken, but author Richard II reminds us that strength of character isn't always about how much you can handle before you break. It's also about how much you can handle after you've been broken. I know there are no words that can say what might fill this void, but know this: you have strength of character, and you are surrounded by people who have strength of character, who will raise you up each day you need their help, and who will light your way when things look dark. You are surrounded by people who channel love and care, not just of our whole community, but of our entire nation. They mourn with us as we remember our fallen, and as we search for ways to honor their memories and their spirits. In just a few minutes, we are going to hear from one of our own recovering members, and then from the families of those that we have lost. We will share messages with us about Keita and Josh, who we learned is really DJ, Bobby, Keith, Mary Lou, Bert, Tara, Rich, Kate, Chris, Missy, and Alex, Sasha. We are so grateful for these gifts that we are about to receive, for that is really what they are. Precious gifts that let us learn just a little more about each person and how special they are, so we can smile just a little bigger when we think of them. Before I ask Battalion Chief Lorna Trent and Lieutenant Scott Humphrey to guide us through that portion of today's service, I have 2 final but very important tasks to do. First, there are quite literally thousands of people I could recognize for their selfless support in the aftermath of this great tragedy. To name them all would keep us here all day, and I know you don't want me to do that. But let us come together in this moment and convey, on behalf of a grateful city, our most sincere appreciation to our first responders, whose bravery and self-sacrifice on May 31st and in the days since have shown us what heroes look like and what public service really means. And then let us come together and show our thanks to everyone who, by thought or deed, reached out to help and who continue to find ways to offer hope and guidance. Our elected leaders, our city staff, our neighbors from throughout the region, volunteers, medical staff and surgeons, civic organizations, faith organizations, and congregations, friends and strangers. We are so incredibly blessed to have all their support. Finally, I want to share with you a special message from one of our own residents. He doesn't live here full time, but he came to visit as soon as he could to lend his support and offer words of encouragement. After he left, he put together this video to show us just what you and his hometown of Virginia Beach means to him.
Sometimes you don't know your strength until you've been tested. It's a simple idea, but ask any athlete or any team, any student or student body, any small businesses or large corporations, and now add to that list our great city of Virginia Beach. As a community, we've been tested too. Our fallen men and women lost their lives in service to us all. Their loss has brought us together, and we continue to think about them every day. Those that knew them personally still see their faces, hear their voices. You are in our hearts. Even for those that did not know these heroes personally, they are all on our minds. At home, as we drive to work, when we embrace our friends and neighbors, we are thinking about them, their families, and the community of Virginia Beach. And it's already clear, through the tragic loss of these loved ones, we found resilience and the ability to forge new bonds, perhaps more strongly than we ever thought possible. They've made us aware of the incredible, limitless power of our open arms and our open hearts. We'll honor them with selfless displays of generosity and openness. We proved that by being open, we have the power to defy and unify. We will defy history's outdated expectations and unify in a way that provides a glimpse of our bright future. Together, unified, Virginia Beach is unstoppable. Our city has always been magnetic. We can't underestimate the kinetic energy supplied to our city by the ocean waves that brush up against our beaches. We've long channeled that energy into goodwill, kindness, boundless creativity, and a loving spirit that has the entire world watching. Now, let's channel that energy into the memory of the men and women we've lost. Let's honor them, their families, their friends, God, and the rest of Virginia Beach. Let's honor them with our open heart and open arms. This is Virginia Beach.
As we go forward in service to this community and to make our city the best it can be, let us do so in ways that honor and are worthy of the memories of the fallen. Let us remember that we pass this way but once. And so, let us work to not just do good, but be good to one another, so that when our 12 look down from heaven to check in on us, they nod in approval and they know that we are living up to what they expect from us. May God bless our 12 with eternal rest, our 4 in recovery with body and spirit, and each of you with strength and love. Thank you.
We will now hear messages from the families as they have asked us to present them. Will the individuals sharing the messages today please join us on the stage? In some cases, a member of the family will read a prepared statement, and in others, a representative will read on the family's behalf. In every case, it was important to us that the families decide what to share and how.
The first message is from one of our 4 survivors, Melanie Coffey. We're very grateful she could be here with us today. Reading Melanie's message is Dave Hansen.
Friends, families, co-workers, neighbors, all those that have joined us, Miss Melanie Coffey. I want to offer my sincere and heartfelt thanks to the Virginia Beach police officers who intervened and the EMS volunteers and firefighter medics who helped get everyone they could to safety. You are heroes who serve our community every day, and I am grateful for your service. This tragedy happened, and I was counting on them to be able to get me out. They did. And they kept giving to me and my family. I am so thankful they stopped other friends and co-workers' lives from being lost with risk to their own. I've been privileged to meet personally with several of them that saved my life. I also want to thank the skilled and caring professionals with Sentara Hospitals and Nightingale, who also helped save my life. I know there were so many that had a hand in me being here today. To my friends, Kempsville High School alumni, family members, co-workers, and the City of Virginia Beach who are offering compassion, prayers, and support, I thank you. Your encouragement is helping me prepare for my long recovery, both physically and emotionally. Your help has eased the burden on my parents and my 4 wonderful children, and I'm thankful for that. Each of you helped me in different ways, and the outpouring of support has been truly amazing. Growing up here, I've always loved this city and hadn't realized how truly connected our community is until this moment. I do feel that it's a miracle that I am still here today after being shot. I believe that there must be something else that I'm still meant to do. Rich Nettleton hired me to work in public works engineering in 1999, and I was friends with 7 of the 12 people whose lives were lost. I think about them every day, most of the time with sadness, but also remembering the good moments. The loss of my best friend, Tara Gallagher, has been the hardest. I have no words to explain how I feel. And it will be a long healing process. I know that many of you must be having the same feelings, and it gives me comfort to be with you. This has been so difficult for all of us connected to this. I am just one person affected by this tragedy. My hope is for courage and determination as we heal together.
I have the honor of representing the family of Lakita Brown. Lakita C. Brown was born on November 20th, 1979, in Virginia Beach, Virginia. She fell asleep in death on May 31st, 2019. Lakita, who her family and friends called Kita, had a warm smile and a contagious laugh that brightened everyone's mood. She was admired and respected by all. The thoughtfulness and joy on her face will never be forgotten. At the age of 16, Lakita symbolized her dedication to Jehovah by undergoing water baptism on July 27, 1996. She took her dedication to God seriously and shared truths from God's Word with anyone who would listen. She chose the ministry as her vocation. Lakita enjoyed many privileges of service and performed all with zeal and humility. As Psalm 110:3 states, "Your people will offer themselves willingly." This scripture well describes Lakita Brown. She was a willing volunteer with the Regional Building Committee in Virginia, later to be called Local Design Construction. Her diligent efforts in the construction of many Kingdom Halls in the Hampton Roads area were well observed by others. She spent many days working with the HVAC department, specializing the tie-in crew. Lakita was very determined. She was a very determined person who would not give up until the work was completed. She worked tirelessly with a smile. Kita was also an asset as a volunteer, local project regulatory consultant. Her experience in the real estate field, particularly as a right-of-way technician, proved to be an invaluable service. She was always willing to share her knowledge in order to help others. How we long for the day when Kita will put her skills to use in God's new world. In 2006, Lakita expanded her ministry by joining a small group of publishers learning French. Serving in the foreign language field allowed her to speak to the hearts of people who needed answers to life-challenging questions, such as, why do bad things happen to good people? And what is the purpose to life? Lakita attended Pioneer Service School in English in 1999 and for French-speaking publishers in 2018. She enjoyed the privilege of preaching in Haiti and West Africa. Lakita loves spending time with children. She had a profound effect on the spiritual development of many that she came into contact with. Lakita also enjoyed traveling, amusement parks, karaoke, dancing, playing games, and cooking. Kita leaves to cherish her memory, family, and a host of friends.
Representing the family of Ryan Keith Cox is Pastor E. Ray Cox, Sr.
Greetings to each of you, my brothers and my sisters. And I don't need to add the little phrase, in Christ. I hear for too often words like this: we are brothers and sisters in Christ. I believe that we are brothers and sisters inside Christ, outside of Christ, because Christ is the Son of our God. And our God is omnipresent. He is omnipotent, and he is omniscient. No matter where we find ourselves, you can never get out of the presence of the living God. And the presence of God in every way is probably blessing implied this way: lo, I'm with you always, even unto the end of the world. I'm here today with my wife, my son, and with some of the members of our congregation. We are not so much here today because my son died. We are here today because he and others, his co-workers, lived. We're here because of our love for them, our respect for them, as members of our family and as meaningful employees in this great city of ours that is called Virginia Beach. We thank God for the great people of this city. We're grateful to God for all of those persons who thought it not robbery to involve themselves from the very beginning of this horrific experience of death, building to the act that was committed in that building. First responders and many others rushed to try to be helpful, to involve themselves to whatever degree they could, to spare us the pain and the grief that each of our families bear. But I would like for you to know this: there is hurt that cards, telephone calls, letters, prayers can really not reach the depth of the sorrow and the anger that we felt because of this vicious behavior that was brought upon us at no fault of our own. City manager just told me a little while ago that he was pleased to be here, and he reminded me that I would have only a few minutes. I looked at him and smiled. I said, thank you, but you know what? I'm a Baptist preacher. I'm still active. I'm 78 and a half years old. I've been pastoring 56 and a half years. And I've come to know a few things about the God whom I've come to know. How merciful, how gracious, how attentive, how absolutely loving God is. I want to make reference to the Apostle Paul. The Apostle Paul, who met the Son of God on a dusty road on his way to Damascus. His agenda was to persecute, to hurt, to put in chains, to enslave those who were there to believe in the Son of God. When Paul was impacted by the brightness of divine presence, he lost his sight. He fell to the ground. And interestingly enough, he had never met the Son of God. But in his blind state of being, he raised this significant question: Who art thou, Lord? And the Lord responded, I am the Son of God, whom you persecute. He could have given him further instructions about the great change that was taking place in his life. But he decided to leave the rest of what he wanted to say to his representative in Damascus, who answered to the name of Ananias. You go on where you started. Sometime God will not change your direction. God will change your attitude. God will change your purpose. God will make you come to a realization that there's a greater power in effect than what you exercise. This God, someone said to me the other day, you are such a strong man. And I looked and I said, I'm sorry. I'm not strong. I just serve a strong and living God. And it is on his everlasting arm that I have chosen to lean. I left Shaw University January 10, 1963, to preach my initial sermon. And I've been pastoring for 56 and a half years. Both my parents are demised, 3 sisters, 3 brothers, many are relatives. I've dealt with death many, many times. And when those wonderful chaplains on duty the night I heard about my son's death, I said to them then, thank you for your condolence. But this is not a new experience for me. But the thing that makes it new for me is that this is more tightly knit. This is the death of my son. And it felt like the bottom of my heart dropped out. But in the midst of that disturbing and painful sensation, I heard the voice of God say, remember what I've told you. And all of a sudden, I got the strength to say, to God be the glory for the things he has done. My son died the way he lived. It was not unusual for him to be concerned and caring and helpful to others. He did what he did every single day. He was very much involved in human affairs. He loved God. He respected the law. He was gainfully employed. He was a taxpayer. He was a lover of his co-workers. Even the person who put the bullets in the back, he understood what it meant to be a forgiving person. I want to say to all of us, with your permission, especially those families with whom we share pain and grief, let me tell you this, I know without doubt. Earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. Somewhere within the confines of the portals of glory, God has something to offer that goes much deeper than your pain and your grief. And if I may, he has said in his word, I will wipe all tears from your eyes. And the most amazing thing about the way God wipes away tears, he does not need a tissue, he does not need a handkerchief, he does not need a towel. Somehow, in the peculiar, miraculous behavior of God, he knows how to soothe our sorrow. There's a fellow named Spafford who wrote one of the hymns that is oftentimes used in our congregational worship. He penned the words to that hymn, when peace like a river attended my way, when sorrow like sea billow roll, whatever my lot, whatever I come against, whatever descends upon me, whatever pain, whatever sorrow, he said, whatever my lot, thou, God, has taught me to say, it is well with my soul. To God be the glory for the great things. Among all of the ugly things, the dastardly things, I thank God that my son left this life acting in death the same way he acted in life. He was caring, he was concerned, and very much involved in rushing into harm's way to try to save others. And had he remained in that room as they tried to get him to do, he may would be alive today. But it was no way that he could have remained in the room. That's not what his mission was that day. It was to be about the business of acting in the interest of life, in the interest of care and decency, in the act of that love of Jesus Christ. Paul said about that love, I am persuaded that neither heights nor depths, angels or principalities, things present nor things to come, shall be able to separate me from the love of God. Thank you so much, each of you, for your prayers, for the private and the public ways that you have given your care and your concern to each and every family.
I have the honor of representing the family of Tara Welch Gallagher. In her short time with us, Tara touched the lives of many. Tara was a mother, a wife, a sister, a daughter, and a friend. Tara's greatest joy came from spending time with her family. Family was everything to Tara. She was a devoted mother, focusing her energy and love into nurturing her young son. She was a dedicated wife, supporting her husband in all his endeavors, both in his career and at home. She was a caring daughter, checking on her parents daily and spending time with them many days. Tara adored her son and would have sacrificed anything for him. There was no road too far, no traffic too heavy, no task too daunting, no detail too trivial for Tara when it came to her son. Each day she drove from Virginia Beach to Portsmouth and then back to her job in Virginia Beach so that her son would grow in the most nurturing environment, his grandparents' house. She never complained about the long drives. She knew this was the best care for her son. She applied engineering principles to every aspect of raising her son. She researched the safest child seats. She was incessant when toddler-proofing their home. She sought out the best neighborhoods for schools. Tara's entire life centered around what was best for her son. Tara had an amazing relationship with her mother and sister. They talked and texted daily. They spent time on the weekends. Together they made plans for the future. Holidays, birthdays, anniversaries. Family gatherings were special to Tara. She always ensured everyone had what they needed and that they were comfortable. Tara always put others first. She always had time for you. A kind word, an uplifting thought, a smile. We will all miss her smile and her laugh. She was a beautiful person inside and out. But Tara was not vain. She was not selfish. She was not cruel. She was not dismissive. She treated all as equals. She cared about how you felt and how she made you feel. As we try to move forward in our lives without Tara, keep her in your heart. Remember that time she made a difference in your day, in your career, in your life. Keep her memory alive within you. Be kind to one another. Remember the example she set for us. Keep her spirit alive through your actions. We all need to be a little better now, as we have lost one of the best amongst us.
I have the honor of representing the family of Mary Lou Krutzinger Gale. Mary Lou Krutzinger Gale, age 65, was tragically killed on May 31st, 2019. She was a doting mother and Grammy who leaves behind son Matthew Gale and spouse Carrie Gordon, daughter Sarah Leonard, and spouse Jeff Leonard, as well as grandchildren Jeffrey and Genevieve. She was a sister to Barbara and spouse Joe Wood, Robert, Bobby, and spouse LaDonna Krutzinger, Kathy and spouse Richard LaBranche, and Patricia Tricia and spouse Cecil Smith. Mary Lou also leaves behind numerous nieces and nephews. She was a friend to all who knew her. Mary Lou was a graduate of Cox High School class of 1972 and coordinator of her class reunion. She earned her bachelor's degree from St. Leo University and her master's degree from Troy University in public administration while working for the city of Virginia Beach. She was a dedicated public servant who worked for the city of Virginia Beach for 24 years, starting as a legal secretary in the law department and ultimately advancing to become a highly successful public works right-of-way agent. Mary Lou was slated to be honored as the Regional Professional of the Year by the International Right-of-Way Association for a region covering 11 states, stretching from Virginia to Maine, at a ceremony scheduled to take place in Portland, Oregon, just 2 weeks after she was killed. Mary Lou was a devout Roman Catholic and taught catechism, religious education, classes for many years at St. John Apostle, the Catholic Church. She also participated in a bunco group, enjoyed craft projects including crochet and knitting, and for more than 30 years made gingerbread houses for each household in her extended family every Christmas season. Mary Lou volunteered extensively in the community, including multiple capacities at Ocean Lakes High School, coaching cheerleading through the Courthouse Recreation Association, and supporting the parish community of St. John the Apostle Catholic Church. Her grandchildren, Jeffrey and Genevieve, were the light of her life. She took tremendous joy from teaching them, sharing new experiences with them, and just snuggling together. She was actively planning and very much looking forward to taking a trip to take them to Disney World for the first time. The family requested that in lieu of flowers, people plant a tree or some flowers and hold dear those you love. Representing the family of Alexander, Alex, Mikhail Gusev is Olga Gusev. And this message will be first read in Russian and then again in English by Bob Salik.
Саша, мы потеряли близкого нам человека. Мы потеряли нашего Сашу. Мать и отец потеряли сына. Брат-двойняшка потерял не только брата, он потерял половинку себя. Наша дочь потеряла дядю. Я потеряла брата моего мужа. Сашины друзья и подруги потеряли друга. Сослуживцы по работе потеряли ценного, молодого и перспективного сотрудника. У всех у нас не стало частички нас. Саша любил Америку самой чистой и преданной любовью. Из всей Америки он выделял и обожал Вирджинию-Бич. Ему нравилось здесь все – природа, законы, люди. Он всегда говорил, это самое безопасное место на планете. 31 мая 2003 года он прилетел в США, и начался его путь, где он формировался как личность, как человек и как мужчина. Здесь он любил и расставался. Здесь он жил, работал и учился. Здесь, в осознанном возрасте, он обрел настоящих друзей. Он с удовольствием пошел учиться на этот факультет, потому что ему нравилась мысль того, что он сможет принести пользу городу, который он любит. Ему очень нравилась его работа, потому что его работа была связана с планами его города. И все люди, с которыми он работал, они своими умами и росписями строили город. Они двигали улицы и здания. Они строили свой любимый город. И все идеи и планы Саши были связаны только с его жизнью в Вирджинии-Бич. 31 мая 2019 года он был убит. Убит у себя на работе, в рабочее время, у себя за столом. За 1 час он и еще 11 человек были дерзко и жестоко убиты в самом центре самого безопасного города. А еще мы, родственники, друзья и знакомые. Мы, люди, которые потеряли близких нам людей навсегда. Мы, люди, в сердцах которых черная дыра и миллион вопросов. Почему? Мы несчастные, сломанные люди. Нет слов, чтобы описать все чувства и мысли, которые в наших головах и сердцах. Я знаю только одно. Мы должны стать ближе друг к другу. Мы должны слышать и слушать друг друга. Мы должны знать, что мы все живем на одной планете. живем здесь и сейчас. И только мы решаем, и от нас зависит, какую мы хотим прожить жизнь и что хотим оставить после себя. Мы живем здесь и сейчас, и только вместе у нас все получится. Мы должны понимать, что это не игра, где можно начать все заново, а это наша жизнь и жизнь наших детей, и детей их детей. Мы должны стать командой добрых, умных и здоровых людей. Только мы вместе, и только здесь и сейчас. И неважно, где человек родился, какой национальности и к какой религиозной прослойке он принадлежит. Важно только одно – быть человеком. И тогда ни нас, ни наших детей не коснется трагедия, подобная этой. Сейчас мы сломаны, мы стоим на коленях с 31 мая 2019 года и не знаем, как и когда мы начнем приподниматься. Точно ясно только одно – живи правильно и честно, всегда учись и добивайся целей, не злись на людей, а помогай. Это Сашины слова, и они должны быть для нас стартом. А второе, от всей души и от нашей семьи хочу поблагодарить всех за помощь, друзей за поддержку в моральном и материальном плане, пожарные службы за постоянную работу с нами, городскую администрацию за оказание нам любой необходимой нам помощи, в отдельности Элейн Лурия за помощь в оформлении виз для отца, чтобы проститься с сыном, белорусскому консульству за поддержку и всем людям, которые не остались равнодушными к нашей трагедии. И еще Саша очень сильно хотел, чтобы его любили. Он все для этого делал. Саша, мы тебя любим.
Sasha, we lost the one closest to us. We lost our Sasha. Mother and father lost a son. Twin brother lost his only brother. Not only his brother, he lost half of himself. I lost my husband's brother. Our daughter lost her uncle. Sasha's friends lost their friend. His coworkers lost their valuable, young, and promising colleague. We all lost a part of us. Sasha truly and faithfully loved America. Out of all the places in America, he chose Virginia Beach. He loved the nature, the culture, and the people. And he always said, this is the safest place on the planet. On May 31st, 2003, he landed in the United States and began his journey where he formed his personality, where he developed his character. He loved it here, the places he lived, where he worked, and where he studied. He made real friends there. He took joy in learning from the faculty. He loved the thought of becoming useful to his city. It was with this knowledge that he found work in the city that he loved. He loved his work because it was connected with the planning of his city. He was part of a group of people who were using their minds and their talents to improve his city. They planned the streets and the buildings. They built his beloved city. All of Sasha's plans and ideas had to do with his life in Virginia. On May 31st, 2019, he was killed. He was killed at work, during work hours, and at his own desk. In 1 hour, he and another 11 people were brazenly and violently killed in the middle of the day. 12 people were cowardly and savagely killed in the very center of the safest city on the planet. And now, we are all relatives, friends, and acquaintances of the people who also lost someone in this tragedy. We are left with a black hole in our hearts and a million questions as to why this happened. We are sad and we are broken. There are no words to describe the thoughts and feelings in our hearts and in our heads.
But I know only two things for certain. This tragedy should make us think about a few things. We should become closer to each other. We should listen and hear each other. We must be attentive to each other. We should know that we all live in one planet. We live here and now, and it's our choice alone how we live our life and what we leave behind after we are gone. We live here and now, and only together that we can be successful. We must understand that this is not a game where one can just start over. This is our lives and the lives of our children and their children. We must become one team. of kind, smart, healthy people. Only together, and only us here and now. It is not important where a person is born, or which nationality, or which religion he belongs to. Only one thing is important, that we are humans, and only then our children and we will be able to escape such a tragedy. At this time we are broken. We have been on our knees since May 31st, and we do not know when and where we will begin to rise. There is one thing that we know: live righteously and honestly. Always learn and pursue your goals. Don't be angry at people, but help them. These were Sasha's words, and they should become our mantra. With all our heart and from our family, I would like to thank everyone for their help, friends for their moral and material support, the fire service for their continuous support for us, the city administration for providing us with all the necessary assistance, and especially Congresswoman Elaine Luria for assistance with expediting visas for Sasha's father, who was able to say goodbye to his son. The American Consulate in Belarus for their support, and all people who cared and helped us with this tragedy. And today, Sasha's mother was making sure that we relay it to you, that she is with us here. She wanted you to know that Sasha loved you all, loved the people who he worked with. He was loved by people, and we will always love him.
Representing the family of Joshua Hardy is Chaplain Brown.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I am Chaplain Mary Lynn Brown with the Virginia Beach Police Department, and about 19 hours after the event on May 31st, I was assigned to be a part of a team with Officer Amy Lambert, and we became the liaison team for the Joshua Hardy family. It is with sadness that I say they could not be here today because they have had a second sudden death in their family. And they have asked me to come. I went last night and picked up their notes that they would like me to read today from all of his siblings. I do want to say that Joshua is a twin, only one of two sets of twins of his siblings. So he's a twin with Denise, and she is the one that I met with last night to go over these notes. So I'm going to read to you exactly what they've asked me to say. They all wanted everybody to know that, first of all, he's known to most people as Josh or Joshua, but to his family he's known as Dennis. And they have said that he's a fun-loving, caring, and devoted brother. He does not have any children of his own, but he has been a great uncle and father figure to all of his siblings' children. And he is the only one of the 6 siblings who was photographed holding all his siblings' children. They say, here's some fun facts about Joshua, who again is also known as Dennis. His sister Denise says, Josh is my twin, and we had our special bond. I'm 5 minutes older than him because he kicked me out of my mother's womb because he wanted to have the place to himself. Then his oldest brother, Willie Hoskins Jr., says, Josh and I texted each other all day, every day, discussing and debating our interpretations of the Bible. Late at night would come, and we'd still be going at it until one of us said, It was time to go to sleep, but our texting would resume first thing in the morning, and he's going to keep those text messages forever. Now, Joshua has an older sister. She goes by Dee Dee. And she says Josh did not watch TV except for religious programs, but he would always come to my house for movie night. We'd get some good food to eat, and the whole time we were watching the movie, he would flash me with funny looks and say, "That would never happen in real life." And then I would say, "It's for entertainment purposes only, just watch the movie." So then he would give those looks to her all throughout the entire movie, and she had to repeat, "It's for entertainment purposes only, Josh," at least 10 times every movie they watched. Now, as I said, Josh is one of 2 sets of twins in his family. So the other set of twins is Linda and Lance. And Linda has told us this story. I'm not sure if I could say it as well as she told us, but she says one day one day Josh was eating some cereal, and she asked if she could have some. But he said no. She begged him to give her some. Finally, he said, "If I give you some and you don't like it, you're going to be wearing it." I tasted it, and oh, I did not like it. And so he poured it over my head. And then he helped me clean it all up. Then there's his youngest brother, Lance. Josh told me about his anticipated promotion at work. When I asked him if he was going to study, he said, "No, you know I'm smart. I'm going to ace that test." And he was, in fact, promoted to Engineering Technician 2. I also wanted to add that most people don't know this, and I asked the family if I could share this with you all. Back in 2004, Josh wrote this book called Protecting Yourself from Strangers. And it is a beautiful book for parents to show their children the many different ways that you should respond when somebody approaches you as a child. And we all know there's a lot of those people out there. And it's beautifully illustrated, and it really gives them a sense of really what could happen out there and how they should respond. So I wanted to let everybody know this is called the ABC book on protecting yourself from strangers. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all being here today.
Representing the family of Michelle, Missy Langer, our Virginia Beach Police Sergeants Jennifer Johannesson and Sean Langley.
Good morning. When I first met Missy Langer's sister, Debbie, and her husband, Ron, I knew they were good-hearted people that were full of love. And today, that makes a lot of sense to me because I've heard so many stories about Missy and how full of love she was. I met Debbie and Ron, and I introduced myself to them, and I explained to them that I wanted to be there for them, and I wanted to help them. And the next day, they ran and hid from me. And I dedicated myself to showing them that they weren't going to be alone and they weren't going to get rid of me that easy. In the last few days, I've had the honor to meet Missy's friends and Missy's family. I got a chance to speak to Ruth, who is going to be Missy's best friend forever. And she would tell you today that Missy would always greet you with a hug and a kiss when she saw you. And you weren't getting away from her without a hug or a kiss either. Ruth describes Missy as her sweet friend that will always be loved by her best friend. Ruth is brokenhearted. I got a chance to speak with Debbie, Missy's sister, who said that Missy always had all the boyfriends, and Debbie said she didn't have any. She may have even been just a little bit jealous of all the friends that Missy had. Missy's neighbors knew her as the woman that cut the grass every other day. At my age, you don't expect to be adopted, but I'm honored that the Langer family would have me as a part of their family. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Freddie. Missy, we love you.
So, as Sean said, we were assigned to the Langer family. And I have to tell you a funny story about Mr. Freddie here before I get started on the comments that Mr. Freddie and Miss Kim would like for me to share. When Sean and I and two firefighters, Tim and Dustin, arrived to Ohio to be with this family to lay Missy to rest, Debbie was adamant that we meet Mr. Freddie. So I was super excited to finally have an opportunity to meet him. And Debbie is dragging me in the funeral home to go meet Mr. Freddie, and Mr. Freddie's going the other way. And I said, uh-oh, this isn't going to be good. So she introduces us to Mr. Freddie, and I won't go into what he said, but he wasn't happy. I said, I'm going to take it. He's in the anger stage of his grieving. His sister was gunned down, and he had no answers. And we were the first city officials he saw because he was in Ohio until we got there by himself. So we let Mr. Freddie throw his punches, and we took it like a champ, because that's what we do. The next day, we were getting ready for Missy's funeral service and graveside, and Miss Debbie says, well, I went to Miss Debbie and I said, what do you need us to do? Where would you want us? What do you need us to do? She says, I want you guys to sit together and I want you to sit over here. Yes, ma'am, you got it. She goes, but hold on. And I went, uh-oh, here we go again. She says, my brother has something to say to you. And I said, uh-oh, we're about to lay Missy to rest. Can we do this later? And she says, oh no. So here comes Mr. Freddie, and he hugged my neck, and he said, thank you for what you guys have done. And he realized why we were there. It's not about us. It's not about the Virginia Beach Honor Guard. It's not about the Virginia Beach Fire Department Honor Guard. It's not about the Sheriff's Department's Honor Guard. We were there to pick up the Langer family and be there for them during this awful, awful tragedy. And Mr. Freddie learned that we weren't there for any other reason but for them. And he has become a huge part of my family. And I, as Sean said, you can never have too many mamas and daddies. And I have gained a new family throughout this tragedy. So some positive has come out of this horrible, horrible situation. So, Mr. Freddie, I love you with everything I have. Kim, I love you. Miss Debbie, I love you. You can't get rid of us. You can't shake us. You tried. Miss Sam called me and said, they need you, and the cavalry came. So we're with you guys forever. Now, on behalf of Miss Kim Langer, Missy's sister-in-law, she had some words for me to share. Missy was truly loved by her brother very, very dearly. She was very protective of Mr. Freddie. She was fun, she was loving, and you could never get her off the phone. Once Mr. Freddie decided he wanted to like us, I can't get him to stop talking. I see the resemblance. She would say that Missy would tell her over the phone, "I love you," 100 times before they would hang up. Miss Kim says they've lost a very big chunk of their heart. Some words on behalf of Mr. Freddie. When they were growing up, about 16 years old, Missy was, she wasn't allowed to leave the house with makeup on. You heard the boyfriends, you heard the lot of friends. She was the social butterfly. Missy would put makeup on at 16 years old and try to go out the house, and Mr. Freddie said, "Oh, no, you're not." So he would literally lock all the doors and chase her around the house to the bathroom until she took it off. She wasn't coming out. There were a few times they were caught in the woods, in Freddie's words, burning leaves, and they caught things on fire. They never got caught, though. When Missy was growing up, she never knew a stranger. She was always laughing. She was always telling everybody that she knew what mattered the most to her was how much she loved her family and friends. Her family says they've never loved a person more and so much, and their hearts are forever broken. Freddie would like to say a few words.
I am standing here right now, not only because I want to, but because I have to. Excuse me. I want to thank Jen Johannesson and Sean Langley. What great care they have taken care of us. They have really brought us around and brought cheers to our lives. Going through this terrible moment, this terrible stage in our life, we've never experienced this before. And they have helped us out immensely. Without them, we'd be totally lost. And I also have to say that all the other shooting victims here, their families, I feel their pain. I feel everyone's pain. And that will last forever. And we are family now, and I'd love to talk to each and every one of you. That's just all I really had to say, and thank you.
I have the honor of representing the family of Richard Rich Nettleton. Rich Nettleton, born December 13, 1953, was taken away from this life on May 31st, 2019. His father, Rexford Nettleton, preceded him in death on April 1st, 2010. Left behind to hold him close in memory is his loving wife, Sarah, of 23 years, his sons, Richard Jr. and Robert Nettleton, stepchildren, Byron and Mary Elizabeth Brown, his mother, Teresa Nettleton, 7 siblings and spouses, Diana and Bill, May and Mike, Sue and Carl, Eric and Donna, Mary and Mark, Dora and Dawn, Peter and Cheryl, and many nieces and nephews. Despite the distance of times and miles, they were all held close in his mind and his heart. Richard was a dedicated Virginia Beach design and construction manager in public utilities. Richard loved being an engineer and loved his family. He was a steadfast, calm, committed man of action in his family life, in his military career, and his municipal service. Growing up around the country in a military family, Richard was the oldest of 8 children. His American father met his mother while stationed in Taiwan. Richard was proud of his Chinese heritage on his mother's side. Richard later followed in his father's path, serving his country and finished his 10 years of service as a captain in the U.S. Army's 84th Engineering Battalion. He moved to Norfolk with his family in 1987. In 1991, he began his service to the city of Virginia Beach. Richard had a master's in engineering from the University of New Hampshire, an MBA from Old Dominion University, and was a member of the National Society of Professional Engineers and the American Society of Civil Engineers. He was a strong supporter of the Minority Business Expo and believed in professionalism, diversity, and reaching out to all in the community. He looked forward to finishing his PhD so that he could teach others after retiring. He was hopeful for the family times in retirement, traveling, working on cars, and watching the New England Patriots and the Boston Red Sox. Many remember him as just a really nice guy. Coworkers have shared that he was a great leader who was highly regarded as one who put himself last on the list when others had a need. Rich always strived to be a better person and to include everyone. He was all about the city and the best possible outcome for the citizens, and was exceptionally proud of the engineers and the staff with whom he worked. He especially enjoyed mentoring other engineers and treated everyone with fairness and kindness. Richard's son, Rick, remembers his dad as a kind and friendly, caring man. I remember on a company picnic with my brother and me, he smiled and waved and said hello to everyone he saw. I now realize that we need more people in the world like him, that we should all strive to be more like the man he was. His wife, Sarah, remembers her husband. He was our strong, steady presence during every family challenge. He provided me with a safe place to land and never complained. Richard and Sarah were looking forward to his retirement years, where they could grow old together, just doing the simple things they loved, walking at botanical gardens, day trips, visiting New Hampshire, and continuing their love story that began 23 years ago. He was my rock, my protector, best friend, and the love of my life.
Representing the family of Catherine Kate Nixon is Brandon Stokes.
Good afternoon. Right now, Kate's in my ear saying, Brandon, they're really hot, don't talk too long. So for you, Kate, I'll keep it short and sweet. So thank you, City of Virginia Beach, for putting this together. Thanks to the amphitheater for letting us come in here. Thank you for you guys for coming, sitting through the heat, and everyone watching online, like Kate's mom, Julie, and Kate's husband, Jason, and their family. Kate was a faithful, God-fearing woman. She was a fantastic wife, fantastic mother, and someone that when you met for the first time, you were like, did we go to school since kindergarten together? I feel like we've hung out. She loved Virginia Beach, she loved this city, and she loved her job. She was the president of the Civic League in Permit Meadows. She was the person that, if you went to her with a problem, she found a solution. Her husband, Jason, called her a fixer. For example, you need a speed bump? Go talk to Kate. You want a tree cut down or a tree planted? Go talk to Kate. She had all the answers. She had so many answers, I asked her for the numbers for the lottery. She couldn't help me, but we tried. Kate's legacy will live through her 3 beautiful children. Jason and Kate have raised strong, faithful, independent little girls that when you're in their house and you hear Morgan or Madeline speak, it's like you're hearing Kate. She was the type of person who, if you went over there for a birthday party, and I'm not kidding, You would give a gift to one of the kids, and before you left the party and got home, there was a thank you card in the mailbox. And I would look at my wife and say, we still have not sent thank you cards to our wedding 12 years ago. And she would have in description what you gave. I'm like, how did she do this? Kay will be missed. She was loved. And this won't be fixed today or tomorrow, but together, we all can heal. We need each other to lean on. We can smile, we can cry, we can pray, we can give grace. Kate would want us all to come together. Kate's light shines. Thank you.
I have the honor of representing the family of Christopher, Chris, Kelly Rapp. Christopher Kelly Rapp tragically lost his life on May 31st, 2019. A graduate of Green Run High School, he earned a Bachelor of Science in Geology from the University of Illinois and a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from Old Dominion University. Chris continued his education at Virginia Tech, earning a master's in civil and environmental engineering. He started his engineering career at McKinney & Company in Ashland. Then in Henrico County, he worked at the Department of Public Utilities. Next, at Caroline County, he started as a deputy director and then advanced to Director of Department of Public Works. Chris had a long tenure as a Department Director of Powhatan Department of Public Works. Later, he worked as Director of Public Works for Stafford County, and most recently, he held the title of Stormwater Management Regulator Engineer for the City of Virginia Beach. Chris was gifted musically and especially loved playing the bagpipes and learning to play the piano. He was a member of the Greater Richmond Pipes and Drums, St. Andrews Pipes and Drums, and Tidewater Pipes and Drums in Virginia Beach. He served as Vice President for the St. Andrews Society and the Filipino American Association of Central Virginia, both in Richmond. Chris enjoyed nature, biking, and hiking. He loved line dancing, ballroom dancing, Filipino cultural dances, and was a member of Cultural Filipino Group in Richmond. He is survived by his loving wife, Bessie M. Rapp, parents, Michael D. and Patricia K. Rapp, brother, Timothy A. Rapp, brothers-in-law Carmelo Mabudis, Linda, Albert Malbudis, Nelmi, and Edwin Malbudis, Mylene, sister-in-law Delisha, Monica Mabudis, nieces Gianna, Monica, Maricar, Meg, Michelle, and Melissa, and nephews Skylar, Matthew, Victor, and EJ. His brother Eric M. Rapp preceded him in death.
I have the honor of representing the family of Herbert Burt Snelling. Herbert Ray Burt Snelling Jr., 57, of Virginia Beach, was taken from us during the tragic events that occurred on May 31st, 2019. He was born in Norfolk, Virginia on May 18, 1962, and resided in Virginia Beach for most of his life. All of his love will continue with his girl of 38 years, his wife, Sonia. He is survived by his mother, Veronica Ronnie Sherritt, and his father, Herbert Ray Snelling Sr., and his wife, Gail, and brother Micah, with Kelly and their children, Leah and Logan. His legacy will live on through his children, Melissa Missy Faye Hart, with her husband Scott, and his son, Herbert Ray B.J. Snelling III, and his wife Sarah. He will be forever remembered by his grandchildren, Sphere, Skylar, Brea, Ashlyn, Hunter, Jolene, Jojo, Colin, and Casey. He loved to create with his hands, beginning with building custom gates at Burning Wood Farms, to hanging windows at Greenwich Supply, and then became a Class A contractor, establishing his own company, Standing Firm Builders Incorporated. He was known for his custom cabinetry and master carpentry skills, which propelled him into building houses in the Virginia Beach area. After closing his company, Burt continued to follow his passion for building, where he found his home at Eagle Construction as the warranty manager with great success. He was then promoted to project manager. He was a genuinely humble and self-sacrificing man with an infectious laugh, and we'll never forget that he not only found humor in every opportunity, he also helped others to find the joy in all things. His unforgettable phrases, quotes, and song lyrics were always a perfect fit for any and all situations. He served the Lord and others his whole life, and most recently was a member of Crosswalk Church in Virginia Beach. His strongest passion was the love for his family and the memories they created together to last a lifetime. He leaves behind his legacy of distinct characteristics and values that will live on for generations to come. Representing the family of Robert Bobby Williams is Bob Montague.
Good morning. I'm Bob Montague. I serve as Director of Virginia Beach Public Utilities, and I'm honored to be here representing the family of Bobby Williams and to share with you a statement of remembrance from his family. Robert Bobby Williams was a beloved husband, dad, and pop-pop. There aren't enough words to describe the wonderful person he was. He was a gentle, quiet, hardworking man of integrity who loved his family more than anything else. Happily married nearly 49 years, he was a father to a son and daughter and had 4 grandchildren. He spent every moment with his family, making memories every day. At work, he participated on the Terminal Velocity competition team at the Water Environment Federation's technical conference and proudly helped this team earn 5 national championships. He loved racing, golfing with his son and 2 older grandchildren, and working on all things for the house and the cars. We have always been an incredibly close family, doing practically everything together, from celebrations to traveling and vacations to eating out and shopping. Our dad, more often than not, had a smile on his face and had the best laugh. He was wise about life and so very smart. He set our expectations for who a person should be very high. Most importantly, he was an incredible husband, dad, and pop-pop that loved his family unconditionally. He was our pillar. All he wanted from this life was time with us,
time to make memories, time to travel together, time to laugh, time to share a meal, and time to love. These words shared today are only a raindrop in a downpour of who our dad was. People like my dad don't come around often enough. We are beyond proud to be the family of Bobby Williams and to carry on his legacy. Thank you.
At this time, we would now like a representative of each family to take their rose and place it in the wreath. This wreath will be brought to City Hall and displayed as a memento from this service and as a tribute to those we lost.
To conclude today's service, we leave you with a final message, a message of hope, caring, and coming together as a community.
Our arms can no longer hold them, but our hearts will never let them go. The community mourns with each family and their unimaginable loss. And in our search for healing, we found each other. We, the Virginia Beach City family, stand with you, committed to speaking their names, sharing their stories, and preserving their memories. We continue to serve in their honor. They will not be forgotten. Alex, Bert, Bobby, Chris, Josh, Kate, Keith, Lakita, Mary Lou, Missy, Rich, Taylor, on the hopes and prayers of our nation, we, the Virginia Beach family, are forever changed. We live on because we must. We will live together. We will live united. We are the city of Virginia Beach, and that's VB Strong.
Thank you all for being here today. At this time, please rise and remain standing while the Tidewater Pipes and Drums leads the processional of the families.